Okay, just jumping off directly from the previous video. This this stuff over here was a way for me to keep track of how many enemies I kill, and I also attempted to keep track of how many enemies spawned and things like that, but that didn't really work out that well. So uh, when I when I get this event over here, which runs after the attack, which is actually triggered during the attack animation, it's the hit damage event. I run this little sequence, which is the stuff that I mean, I used to run that just to toggle a force. When I first started testing this stuff, I just used some boxes and things, and I just toggled the force to push them around. Anyway, this is run by the same event. So, like I mentioned before, I'm currently using a projectile to do all of this stuff with it. But just to show where I came from and my original way of doing this. So in the previous video I explained the trace, and when the trace is all fine, it's detected as a hit, it's within range, it hits something and it's within range and everything, it runs this sequence over here, and what this used to do is it'll run and it'll open the gate, and it'll start this, which will close the gate. In fact, I don't think it'll open. It'll run and it'll start that, which will close the gate. So certain things has to happen before you can do it again. I just have to remember again what I did. But anyway, so again, I test to see if and this is why in the previous video I mentioned that I needed to create a new list of enemies detected, of current enemy that's detected as a hit. So I needed it for this, and I needed to see if the current enemy is actually, the current object is actually an enemy that I can do this, that I can modify the health from. And so you know, the modify health is a named variable, so I can go and put the value in at any point, and that's the punch power, because I've got punches and kicks, so I've got two different sets, and so I get the health, and I compare it to 0, so I can detect when an enemy is dead, and this is the best way I could find to do this within the within using crowds for enemies and not having direct controls. Like when you use pawns and things like that, you have different ways of doing things, but this is the way I could figure out to do this. So to see if the enemy is dead, compare that, and then subtract it from the enemy count, test it against 10. So I just had a limit of 10, and yeah, so when you reach 10, pretty much this event here is run, and it stops spawning any new characters. So you know, ultimately you'll have more than 10 enemies that you have to kill, but you know, when you hit 10, there's no more new ones coming in, so you just kill what's left. And I haven't actually found a very clean way of detecting when everybody's dead and things like that, but I think you can. I don't know. I haven't really specifically looked at that much. I'm not sure if you can detect deaths. I think at some point I attached a death event to the spawned character. And but the problem that I find with crowds is because they can come in and out, and kind of if they go off screen, they get destroyed, and if they get stuck in a corner or something, sometimes they'll get destroyed, and like some weird things happen. It's not as clean as a pawn as like as an AI controller or something like that. Like if you spawn a bot in, then you've got total control over what happens, how many spawns and what happens with those, and when they die what happens and things like that. But using this kind of method, I find that you have to kind of find some different methods of doing things, and I am referencing the Jazz game quite a bit for this, because they use pretty much what I want to do with some variation in some places. So I find looking at this at the stuff in there is very helpful. So I might find a solution in there if I start looking at that stuff. I think this is actually okay. Yeah, that was to detect an attack. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so that's that stuff explained, and like I said, is actually a viable way of doing damage and detecting enemies and doing damage to them and things like that. But I think that you can get the same with a projectile. I just need to figure out then how do you detect kills and things like that. Because with a projectile, then I don't do the trace myself. It's it's all part of the projectile. So yeah, I'll have to see how that works. And I think that's everything. Yeah, the enemy spawns here is pretty straightforward. I'll throw that into this video quickly. Just at level load, I run the crowd spawner, and it spawns in some guys at these spawn points here, and I add them to the list that I've mentioned before. And I also had this counter that I used for debugging purpose, just so I can log the amounts and things and see like how many people actually spawns in versus how many you see on screen, and because the crowds are kind of unpredictable in a way. So it's not easy to count them unless I'm missing something, Yeah, so I think that's everything I've got so far, and I might make some more videos in the future showing some more stuff that I've added to the game or figured out.